Hello, welcome to
Papi Approved Movies.
My name is Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
In our podcast, we'll review and critique my favorite PG-13 movies.
Movies that I wasn't allowed to watch until I turned 13.
Once a month, Natalie and I will watch a new PG-13 movie.
And I'll see if Papi's movies live up to the hype.
Which, of course, they will.
Today we're going to be watching The American President.
Before we begin, there will be spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie and don't want it to be spoiled,
Press pause and come back when you're finished. Now, Papi, tell me the deets on this movie.
hello, Natalie.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Okay.
The American President came out in 1995 with a runtime of 1 hour and 54 minutes. It's not streaming anywhere. We had to rent it on Amazon. It was written by Aaron Sorkin and directed by Rob Reiner. Main stars are Michael Douglas, Annette Bening, and Martin Sheen. Fun facts, the writer Aaron Sorkin went on to do a famous TV show called The West Wing, where the president was the guy who played AJ in the movie. I never did watch it. I did want to start watching it, and then I watched like a preview of it, and then I'm like, nah, I don't have time for this. What did you think of the movie?
I thought it was plain.
Really?
Yeah, like a piece of bread. It was boring.
How was it boring? It was so entertaining and gripping. A lot of conversation. A little bit more
Too
stimulating.
much conversation. I was overstimulated, matter of fact.
I don't understand. You can't have action because you hate it, and you can't have talking because you hate that.
I like action. It's just that they don't have good storylines. They put their production into explosions, and I don't care about no stupid explosions.
It was like a smart movie. I thought it was a movie that you would have found entertaining. But you remind me of Lucy in the movie who hates social studies, and so maybe you wouldn't like a movie about the president.
Well, I like National Treasure. Great movie there.
Not much social studies. There's more history, isn't it?
No, it's more adventure.
There you go. What do you rate it?
2 stars.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it was better than 2 stars.
No, I was bored.
What were you bored about? Are we going to hear a lot of, I didn't get it?
No, I got it, I think. There wasn't much to get.
That's quite a bit. We'll see. We'll see what you know when we start the recap. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed. I thought you were going to like it. I picked this movie because it was more brainy. I guess this would have been better next year when you're a senior, so that way you could be in government. Or maybe not. Maybe it wouldn't be that good then either. I don't know.
I don't think so.
All right.
Why don't we get into the recap?
Okay. The movie begins with President Shepard meeting with his secretary, Janie, to go over his day. He has a 63% job approval rating and is on cloud 9. Domestic policy advisor Lewis meets with him and asks him why he changed his speech from the night before. Later, Robin, his press secretary, asks him the same thing. She brings up the environmental lobby group, the GDC, who wants him to sign off on a clean air bill to lower emissions by 20%. Shep agrees to sign off only if it's at 10%. This movie came out 31 years ago, and we're still talking about the same things. We're still talking about clean air and climate change, and
It's still being changed.
it's still being changed. But nothing's changing, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but the problems don't end.
No, there's still the same issues. Actually, we see a lot of the same issues that we have now in our country in this situation 31 years ago. Nothing's changing. I'm sorry to say, in 31 years, nothing's going to change either. Shep wants to pass a crime bill to help solidify his re-election chances. His staff, including the chief of staff and best friend, AJ, ask about gun control being missing in the bill. Shep says he won't attempt that until after the elections. To pass the bill as it stands, he needs to get 18 more congressional votes. So there you go. Something we still have issues with, gun control. It was a problem 31 years ago.
I'm confused. Why can't he send both?
So that's a good question. But from what I understood of the movie was he wanted to put his support behind one to try to get to that passed. And I think that to do in 2 would be something that they're not going to work. So he needs to only like send one forward. And then as he is like promoting that one, like that's his thing, and that's what they're going to focus on. And he's going to have to try to do his maneuvers to make that one count.
Oh, okay.
See, I think that the GDC was going to vote for him anyways. So they helped him get elected. But then he's kind of like saying, well, they're going to vote for me whether I help him or not. Because they're not going to vote for the other guy. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
According to them. So he kind of like turns his back on them now that he's popular. So that way he can get the crime bill done. And then that's going to be able to help him win the election.
But I thought the point was that he already had enough people to vote for him, so it didn't really matter.
No, I mean, it's his approval rating. I mean, now he needs to actually have an election and things are going to take a hit. I mean, the sad thing is the approval rating's never that high. I've never seen 63%. They're usually in the 40s for everybody.
Oh.
And our last few presidents have been that way because, America's so polarized. You either hate the guy in office or love him, And so half the country dislikes him. He had enough people to get this crime bill voted passed. Then he did something, and then he could win re-election with that. Kind of like ride that wave.
Oh, okay.
At the GDC, the director Leo Solomon tells Susan, one of the workers there, that he's hiring a professional lobbyist by the name of Sidney Wade. He's bringing her in to close the deal with the president to get the 20% emissions that he wants. So Sydney's supposed to be like this awesome expert, like mercenary. She comes in. Doesn't matter that she is about the GDCs. She's there to close the deal like a shark. Shep meets with his daughter Lucy as she's practicing her trombone. We find out that Shep's wife died right before his first election 3 years ago. Lucy tells him that she hates social studies, and he tries to excite her with his love of history and the Constitution. But it doesn't work. She still hates it. Lucy could have been called Natalie in this movie right here.
It's just like, let's stop looking towards the past and let's look towards the future.
The next day, Sydney goes to the White House and meets with the president's staff. She's a pit bull and fights for the 20%. She mentions that the GDC helped Shep get elected the first time, and he should stay true to his promises. She gets on a roll while Shep walks in and overhears everything. He startles her by letting her know he's there, and she's super embarrassed and apologizes. He pulls her aside to talk. She eventually gets him to agree to support the bill if she can get 24 more congressional votes. He agrees, and she leaves. He's charmed by her. Like he thought she was cute, but on top of it, like she was kind of like slamming him when he walked in. He's probably hadn't heard that in a long time. People don't talk to the president like that, at least face to face.
Yeah, it's more humanizing.
Yeah, it's true. I do want to ask you about their relationship. When we get there, they're obviously going to have a relationship. I want to ask you about it. That night, Shep and AJ play pool, and AJ tells Shep he shouldn't have made that deal with the GDC. Shep doesn't think they're going to get the votes, so it won't matter. Then he asks if he thinks it's okay to date Sydney. AJ thinks it's probably a bad idea, being that it's an election year. But when AJ sees how much he likes her, he encourages him to give her a call. Shep does, and invites Sydney to a state dinner, and she accepts. The next day, Lewis and his crew and Sydney and her crew are working hard to get the votes necessary to get their respective bills passed. Date night. Sydney comes to the White House in a gown as Shepard gets ready. Lucy helps him with his tie and asks if it's okay if he dates. She says yes. Sydney and Shep come together and they meet the President and First Lady of France. They have a nice dinner and even dance as everyone is watching, especially Senator Rumson, who's planning to run for president. So they go out on a date, right? Do you find this inappropriate?
Well, the first thing I was saying is, if you're going on a first date, why are you going to be with a bunch of people? Like, that sucks.
Impressive.
And you're performing.
You want to impress her.
But that's just, I wouldn't want to be talking to a bunch of royalty and having to know all my manners and be so polite and all this stuff. I just want to be myself, and then you can't really do that when there is like a ballroom of people watching you. It just brings a little discomfort to the whole situation.
Here's my take on it. How do you say no to the president? The president says, hey, come with me to a state dinner. I need someone to accompany me. First off, I think she realized it was a date right off the bat. He didn't really say, hey, I like you, let's go out on a date. He didn't say that. He's like, would you accompany me? So my cousin got sick. I need someone to accompany. Will you accompany me, right? But I think she knew it was a date. But I mean, it could have been like misinterpreted. At the same time, how do you say no to the president?
Yeah, it's
The power
definitely
imbalance.
a power. He has too much power over her. I just think the whole thing would make me uncomfortable. Even if I got pulled into the other room with him and then he's like, oh, you want to have lunch right now? Because that's what he said to her when they
Yeah.
first met.
Want to have breakfast or something like that? Yeah.
And I would be like, no thanks. I kind of just want to leave here right now.
Well, she did. She did that, right? She stayed to her guns. You're like, no. Let's not change the subject. I need this GDC. But like, she went back to her job and like started focusing on her job.
But I just think he's kind of using that in some way. Or he'll be like, oh, you can't. He says something later where it's like, oh, you can't say no to the president or something. He uses that line, or he's like, I've never been talking to this way or something, and it was very like unsettling in my opinion.
Well, he does a lot of jokes like that. He like kind of plays jokes off. He's like a jokester about it. But yeah, I could see where maybe someone would not take it as a joke. There is a scene where like, you are not leaving that way. And she's like, why not? I'm going to leave wherever I want. And he's like, because if you go that way, you're going to get arrested. But the way he said it was a joke, because that's my office. You can't go in there. It's illegal for you to go in there, kind of thing. So I could see where it's the power imbalance can make it a little bit uncomfortable. I don't feel that if she wasn't interested in him, it would have been an easy situation to get out of.
No, and that's what I was trying to say, that she would have had to go either way because he's kind of forcing her.
Yeah, I don't know if he's forcing her, but I think the situation is that.
Because jokes can be jokes, but jokes also come off aggressively.
Yeah.
And I thought it was overall an aggressive situation.
See, I didn't see that. I just think the situation is always going to have an imbalance because of his authority figure.
Yeah, but I think his jokes add to that, like, discomfort for her.
Okay.
From my perspective, this is like my worst nightmare.
Having the president of the United States ask you out on a date?
Yeah. Like, that would be so horrible that I would probably never leave my house again.
Well, he knows where you live, right? Because he even finds her. She doesn't even have a house, and he finds her. You're like, how did you know?
I do find that creepy as well.
Well, he's like the FBI or the IRS. Someone got your phone number,
So he always cracks these jokes like, oh, I'm the president. You can't do this. You can't do that. Oh, I have access to everything. I can find you. Very scary. Yeah. Very, very scary. A normal date would not have that much access to information about you. Sure. And it's a safety thing.
But you also have all the access to information about him. You know everything about him.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
You don't know all his private life.
I mean, you kind of
You know what he wants you to know.
Well, no, because the media, that's out there. You think our president right now has things that we know a lot about him he probably would not want us to know about him. You know what I'm saying? Because the media will always be on top of trying to find out all this dirty stuff.
But I'll never find what's the worst of it all.
No, you have to get to know him, I guess, for all that to happen. Or get to
the
know
worst will always stay undercover.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's for everybody, but I think we know more about a public figure than they know about us.
They know too much about us.
Yeah, maybe Big Brother's watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your algorithm. They know your algorithm.
Yeah. Those pigeons, cameras. Spies.
Oh, I knew it. You hate them, right? You hate those pigeons.
I feel bad ever since I learned that they were used for war and then they were just left there to die. Yeah,
You hate pigeons.
They trained and domesticated the pigeons.
But you hate pigeons.
For war. Because they're dirtying the street. Like, they never got rid of them.
So you're okay with them dying?
I feel like they could have been used for, like, animal testing or something.
Like lipstick. The next morning, the newspaper all run the story of Shep and Sydney. At the White House, Shep wants to send Sydney flowers. He struggles to do so and eventually sends her a Virginia ham, the state that she's from.
And also, this is another thing. Now you're getting media tracking that you not necessarily were welcome to. You don't get the privacy that you necessarily wanted.
You kind of did know when you agreed to go.
But did you have much of a choice?
Yeah. I think it'd be hard to say no, but I don't think it's impossible. Sydney gets to her office and Leo says that it's a bad idea. It will make her look bad, but she's smitten. Lewis and Robin come in and ask about what they could do to get in front of the Sydney story. Shep says, hard pass. It's personal. Let's not talk about it. Sydney comes over and has dinner at the White House. She meets Lucy, who talks about how much she hates social studies. The night ends with Shep and Sydney kissing.
I don't understand Lucy's point. Like, why did she's such an empty character. Like, why does she hate social studies? We never really,
She just don't like it.
Yeah, but then why is it such a big problem? Like, the whole movie, he's like, gosh,
That's
my daughter
doesn't
love social studies. Like, so who cares? Go do your job.
He's the president of the United States, the defender of the Constitution. Like, he loves his document. He sleeps with it at night. And then his daughter's like, I hate everything you stand for.
It's not like she hates, the Constitution. She just is bored by it. What's so wrong with that? It's boring.
It crushes his spirit because he loves it so much. It's like you hating basketball. Wait, you do hate basketball. And it hurts my heart.
But it's like, I don't understand what the point of adding that to the story was. It didn't go anywhere. She still hates history from beginning to end.
It humanized him as a character, as a father. And it highlighted the fact that he was a staunch constitutionalist and that loves the Constitution.
But he's not a good father.
Why?
Because every single time the lady's like, oh, you need to go see your daughter, and then he's like, I forgot about her, and then he goes and talks to her for 3 seconds. He's the president
of the United States.
And then he hates on
hours
her.
Of meetings.
And all she does is say oh, just doing history, and then he's like, I'm gonna beat you, child, beat you. I hate you. Why don't you like history? Why can't he be supportive of the 3 seconds that he stands with her that were scheduled into his schedule?
The trombone? That's what he wants to be all excited about? That she's playing the trombone?
Yeah, maybe support would be good.
She's in the movie for about 45 seconds, of which she is just showing that he is a loving dad.
All she shows is that she doesn't like history and he doesn't like her for it.
No, he wants to inspire her. He wants to teach her.
It just seemed like he was full of hatred towards his daughter.
Yeah, full of hatred toward this movie. Meanwhile, Rumsden speaks with some of his advisors and says that Shep having a girlfriend is going to be great for his election because he's going to start doing character attacks on him. The mudslinging begins and it's hurting Shep's approval rating. Sydney's concern comes over to break it off. He plays it off as a joke and doubles down on their relationship. She goes with it and they hook up. Inappropriate! And he didn't like that scene. Look at you. I imagine you had issues with them. She wanted to break up with him, but not for her sake. She wanted to break up with him for his sake.
Yeah, so I don't think that he should have been okay, no, you can't break up.
No, I like you. You like me. Let's stay together.
Yeah, he should have just let her go. No means no. Never chase your women.
Never.
Always let them go.
And this is how civilization ends.
If you love them, let them go.
In the news today, there hasn't been a child born in 13 years because men aren't chasing women anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe, but
the
guess
world
what?
would come to an end. The world comes to an end.
But we'd be smiling.
As you go down, as humankind dies.
There is male loneliness epidemic right now or whatever it is. And I think it's extremely funny.
Wow. Anyone lonely should not be funny to you. That's you're capitalizing on someone's misery right there now.
But they're not lonely as in lonely in their souls. They just don't have partners. They still have their family.
Who knows?
They still have their friends.
Who knows? Maybe they're really lonely people.
That's what the male loneliness epidemic means, is that there's not enough women, and people are saying it's women's fault because they have too high of standards.
I don't think people are saying that. Probably men are saying that, right?
Well, yeah, but who has the microphone?
Well, right now, you and I both have a microphone. So there's an equal representation of male females on this podcast. And and I'm not lonely. So there you go. The next morning, Lewis, Robin, and AJ come into the president's bedroom as Sydney gets ready to leave. The media is aware she spent the night and is waiting outside to talk to her. AJ's wife, Esther, sneaks her out, but the damage is done and the gossip begins. They even look into a demonstration that Sydney attended where a flag was burned and start calling her names. Both Sydney and Lewis are closing in on the necessary votes for their bills to pass. Rumsden's campaigning, attacking Shep and Sydney. He calls Sydney a flag burner and says that she had traded sexual favors for votes in the past. Both Lewis and Sydney tell Shep to stand up to Rumsen. Shep says no. All of this will go away on its own.
That's a very common thing that people say about women, is that they just slept their way to the top.
Yeah.
And I guess it kind of makes sense for Rumsen's character because he's supposed to be not a good person. However, I feel like it was kind of a boring thing that they went with. I think they could have gone more with the burned flag or some kind of other anti-patriotism sentiment, something else other than just like
sexual favors.
Yeah.
I would say that
I thought it was unoriginal.
The sexual favor line was a throwaway. It was very quick. It barely talked about it. But they did delve deeper into the flag burning. His approval ratings eventually plummet to 41%. As the numbers drop, so does the support for the crime bill. Lewis may not get enough votes. At Christmas dinner, Sidney let slip that she met with 3 congressmen for their potential votes, but was turned down summarily. The way she says it leads AJ and Shep to understand that if they table the GDC bill, they can count on those 3 votes for the crime bill instead. They decide to keep that in their back pocket in case they need it later. So that's kind of like a dirty move, but that's like the politics that are going on. What she told them kind of gave them an inside edge that eventually kind of sinks her later, and so they can get that crime bill passed.
I do think, it is somewhat unfair to her, but she's also supposed to be doing her job, and she probably shouldn't have said that.
She shouldn't have 100% said
It's
that.
her job to do that, and she shouldn't have, she needed to separate work from life at that moment, I believe.
Especially when her work is contradictory possibly to the president's.
Yes.
But it is her boyfriend. So, why couldn't you just talk to him about it? And he should have been able to turn it off.
But she wasn't talking to just him about it. She talking in front of a bunch of other political
and
members.
AJ, so when it actually comes to play and it actually happens, Shep doesn't want to do it. But AJ and Lewis and Rob, they all kind of convince him to do it. But if he was the only one who had heard it later that night when they're alone, then he probably wouldn't have even shared it with everybody and then not had it happen.
Yeah, so I think this was kind of her bad.
More lobbying begins. Sidney is almost there. Meanwhile, the crime bill is losing ground and needs 3 more votes, the ones that Sidney mentioned. Lewis begins to panic and screams at congressmen as they turn their back on the president. AJ and the staff meet and tell Shep to take the GDC vote, put it aside, so they can get the 3 votes to pass the crime bill. Shep fights back, but eventually decides to do it. At the GDC, they get the final votes, and it's time to celebrate. Then Sidney's called into Leo's office and fired. She goes to the White House to say goodbye and tells Shep off for doing her dirty. He tells her that it's not personal, it's politics, and she leaves angrily. That's a tough situation. The fact that they kind of work at odds with each other, her job is to make him do something that he doesn't want to do. Yeah.
I also think it kind of shows a conflict of interest because as the president, because they're conflicted with one another, but also he's the president. He's supposed to be doing what's best for the country, and right now he's in election mode.
Right.
He's just trying to win votes. So he also kind of has that contradiction in his own mind that's fueled by her as a character.
So that is a great point. And there has been laws. People are like, maybe we should make the president have no re-election. Just one term, make it 6 years or even 8 years. Because what happens is year 3, year 4, they are worried about winning again. And so they don't do what's right for the country. They do what's right for their political gain to win a re-election. And then usually the second term, they kind of just are loose and do whatever they want now. Because, it doesn't matter now. You can't get reelected a third time. Although it has happened and people talk about it happening again. I don't think so, but you never know. So
when has it happened?
FDR was elected 4 times. He was president for 4 terms. But they made a constitutional amendment.
FDR.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Oh.
So I don't think we're going to have a third elected president. That might happen. I don't think it's supposed to. I mean, there's an amendment that says not to, but who knows what's going to happen in a few years, in 2 years, when then we have a new election.
But I also think that she as a character kind of works as that morality.
Yeah.
Symbolically, that she's kind of that morality of like, oh, here's what you should do. This is right. This is what will be good for the country and for the people. But you want that re-election, and that's the crime bill will help with that. When really both of them should be passed, you know. That's what my personal thing is, but I know you can't do that.
That night, AJ and Shep play pool, and they get into an argument. AJ tells him to stand up to Rumson and fight. Shep walks off and begins reflecting on all his decisions. The next morning, Shep goes to an impromptu press conference. He finally stands up. He tells everyone that he's going to send the GDC bill and going to revamp the entire crime bill to include gun control. Then he talks directly to Rumson. He tells him if he wants to debate, name a time and a place. After the press conference, he looks to get a car to find Sydney and apologize. She comes in before he leaves, and they kiss and make up. Then he leaves to make the State of the Union address. The end. I like this movie. I enjoyed it. Again, I'm sorry you didn't like it so much. I feel sad that you didn't enjoy it. I sadly feel that there is kind of like a respect, maybe an admiration, maybe a love for the president in this movie. Like we looked up to this person as an honorable person, as a person that we can care about and love and respect. And I don't think that is how we have seen presidents, maybe your entire lifetime. Obama was very much disliked by a lot of people, loved by a lot, but also hated by some. I would say Trump, obviously very polarizing. Biden as well, very liked, but also very disliked. And Trump again. I don't see the respect and the love and the position of president being something of honor and respect. I don't see that anymore. Sadly.
I don't think that it's just the president. I think that overall the country is less patriotic.
I don't know if it's patriotic though. Do you think it's patriotism as opposed to just respect for authority?
No, I think it's patriotism.
Really? I would say I feel like we're more patriotic now than we have in my lifetime. I feel like America first, America first, America first.
No, maybe it's just because of the people I'm surrounded by, but everyone's like, I hate this country.
Maybe. I mean, you are a teenager, and maybe the kids around you are saying that, but I don't see that as much.
That's why I'm saying that maybe it's just who I'm surrounded by, but I don't think people are very patriotic.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. It's a lack of patriotism now. Like, when JFK was killed, I think the whole country was in mourning. It was devastating and destroying, right? And it was so sad. And we did have an attempted murder on President Trump. Well, he was between presidencies. And people were like really devastated and really happy. And I'm like, what is going on? I get he is a very polarizing figure, but when did the respect for someone in higher office go away? And maybe we should have never had it in the first place. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is, but it is sad to see how we're so divided. All right. Could this movie still be made today?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I think for the same reason we were talking about it. I don't know if...
I don't think it would do well.
Yeah. You would say you watch this movie and you're like, the hero of the movie is the president. I mean, maybe not you because of all the awkwardness. But I don't know if people would find that... I don't know what two bills he could pass that makes everybody go, oh, yes, those are the right bills for him to pass.
Yeah, I don't think that. I also think people wouldn't watch a movie about all this because they're like, we've heard enough. Like, we don't need to be watching our entertainment about the government now, too.
Just watch the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Does it pass the Bechdel test?
Yes.
All right. It does pass the Bechdel test. Bechdel test is a test to check for female representation in a movie. There are 3 criteria. Criteria number 1, are there 2 or more named females?
Yeah. There's Sydney. There's the lady that does all the work.
Robin, she's the press secretary. There's Janie, his secretary.
Yeah. Janie basically does everything.
Yeah. And then the older lady, the secretary.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Criteria number 2, do they talk to each other?
Yeah. So the Janie talks to the other older secretary, and Sydney talks to people in her office as well as other people in the presidential office.
And her sister. She has her sister as well. Yeah. Criteria number 3. Do they talk to each other about anything other than a man?
Yeah, Janie asks the older secretary what the state flower of Virginia is, and
what is the answer? Do you remember?
It's a tree.
A dogwood. Which is
tree.
Both a tree and a flower, according to the lady.
And Sydney talks to one of her co-workers because they had like a hatred towards one another, and then the co-worker tells her like, oh, I'm so sorry, like I underestimated you, and she's like, it's okay. And Janie also talks to the like Queen of France president.
Oh yeah.
And says this room is so beautiful, it's a shame no one's dancing.
That's right, they do have a conversation in French, right?
Yeah.
All right, so it does pass the Bechdel test. It's been a while since we passed the Bechdel test, so I wasn't sure which button to press. All right, anything else before we finish the pod?
I only wrote one note on it, and it was that Sydney had a haircut like Princess Diana.
She had a cute haircut. I think Annette Bening, that's the actress. I think she's really pretty.
And she kind of had that paparazzi all over moment, kind of like Princess Diana, but it was definitely a different effect because Sydney wasn't very well liked.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah, I have noticed that movies around this time period, almost leaning towards 2000s, the women have a lot of style and relation to Princess Diana. So there's this movie where the haircut's very similar. They have a similar vibe of her just like being out and about and like getting paparazzi all over. In like Parent Trap, their mom has a very Princess Diana haircut. She even has like a British New York fashion influence that's very similar, whereas their costuming is very similar to what she wore in the past. So I kind of see that influence within the movie as well, the kind of British influence.
That's funny. And I would have never even noticed. That's funny. Anything else?
No.
Thank you for tuning into Papi Approved Movies.
If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcast app or like our podcast on YouTube. If you watched till the end of today's episode, comment down below the American flag emoji.
We put out an episode twice a month.
If you want to see extra podcast content, follow our TikTok at Papi Approved Movies.
If you want to suggest a movie for us to watch and critique,
email us at papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com.
That's papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com. No spaces, no caps.
We'll try our best to get to your suggestion, and remember, it has to be PG-13.
I'm Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
See you next time.
Bye.